Hello everyone, this is Aegon of Astora, and welcome back to Dark Souls 2, Let's Talk Lore. This is episode 21, and we are all set to take on the third and final DLC, the Crown of the Ivory King.
Turn back. The old chaos hungers still.
So we can see right away that there's something rather strange going on here. It's a very icy place. Not what we would normally associate with chaos. And yet, the voice we've just heard has told us that the old chaos hungers still. So as I've mentioned in previous episodes, we are not going to take on all the mobs in this area. We are going to speedrun through a substantial portion of it. But with that said, there are a few enemies we will take care of on the way. Mostly those which are most convenient to fight. And it's not going so well so far. So we're going to back up a little bit, pop a couple life gems. Those are, I believe, these are the Rampart Golems, I believe they're called. So today is March 18th. Last recorded, I believe, March 14th. And I think today is the day when I will finish the rest of the episodes that need to be recorded for this playthrough. Because it is something like 5 days until Bloodborne. I'm not sure as to the exact... I'm not sure as to the exact ETA for Bloodborne because I haven't turned on my PlayStation 4 in quite a while. And when you do turn it on, it has a nice little countdown for, for any game that you have pre-ordered, but I've pre-ordered for download Bloodborne, of course, and it comes with a nice little counter that says how much time is left until you're able to play it. So, I'm not sure the exact, I believe it's the 23rd it comes out. Got some dogs here. Whereas the majority of the enemies in this DLC respond to alluring skulls, the dogs do not. And just like the dogs in the base game, these dogs drop either Soul of a Nameless Soldier or Human Effigy. Which, not really sure what to make of that. The fact that they drop Human Effigies might indicate that in some way, shape, or form that those dogs, perhaps it's a play on the whole dogs being man's best friend thing, but I don't know. You can see there we pick up a torch, or 5 torches rather, but the interesting thing is you try to use a torch, and it goes out immediately. So perhaps just trying to indicate to the player, and there's also a retainer sorcerer there, and some items over there that are frozen over. So we're going to use some luring skulls to get through this next part. You may have noticed in episodes 16 to 20 that the quality took a little bit of a hit. You may not have noticed, in which case, by virtue of me telling you, I'm essentially pointing that out to you. But in episode 16 to 20, I lowered the bit rate a little bit so as to lower the amount of time it takes to render and upload clips. But rather than actually affecting the render times, which there didn't seem to be any negligible difference in the same, all it really seemed to do was make it so that when there was any movement on the screen, it added a certain blur effect to the action on screen. So, seeing as there seems to have been no benefit to my having lowered the bitrate, I believe from 8 megabits per second to 6 megabits per second, there's no upside to having done so. So I've increased it from 6 megabits per second to 7 megabits per second, in the hopes that it would solve the apparent quality issues that my initial decision to lower it to 6 created. So I hope you'll bear with me as I try to figure out what the optimal settings are, because again, I'm very new to all of this, not entirely up to snuff when it comes to knowing what the best settings are for any of this. So similarly, I'm not necessarily up to snuff when it comes to this DLC and knowing where to go and what it is to do. So what we are trying to do right now is make our way towards the eye of the priestess, which will allow us to see that which cannot be seen. Oh, don't want to go there. So that we can continue on with the DLC. But I'm afraid I've already gotten somewhat lost here, but I think I know where we're going. Let's go down these stairs here. Past this guy. Ah, yes. The one-way set of stairs. Crimson water. Yes, this is precisely where we need to go.
And never look back. No one must ever find that which is sheltered in the male voice.
So this voice that we're hearing, that is, of course, the voice of Alsana, the Silent Oracle. And we see here an item that is located on the skull of this skeleton. When we pick it up, we see that it's the eye of the priestess. Eye of the priestess. The eye of the first priestess who watched over Ilium Lois allows one to see the unseen. All the great priestesses replaced one of their birth eyes with this, returning it after their term was complete. So once again, here we have another very interesting theory proffered by Ninth Belief on Reddit, which hypothesizes that the lost sinner. So we have another elite knight from Astora here, who apparently didn't get my memo about the golden wing shield being the shield they should be using, as well as using a Drakekeeper's war pick rather than Espada Ropera, rapier, or longsword. But I digress. So we got 5 alluring skulls and a skeptic spice. But yeah, so the Eye of the Priestess being the link between Sinner's Rise and the Lost Sinner and the Old Chaos, as we see here. And the link, the thing establishing the link between the two, and we see now that we've obtained the Eye of the Priestess, these retainers are now hostile to us. Let's rest the bonfire again. But the connection between the two being that the Lost Sinner appears to be missing an eye. The Lost Sinner, of course, is also heavily associated with the Chaos. And so, ipso facto, it would seem, the Lost Sinner was once a priestess of Ilium Lois. So, very, very interesting theory, and putting together seemingly a whole, or putting together an area of the game that is seemingly unconnected to that of the DLC, with the DLC, in a way that is simple and elegant. And of course, this right here is Holy Knight Arheim. Whoa, 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 whoa. Alright, we'll come back later for those Silver Talisman. So as to avoid... Oh, yeah, let's just deal with this guy. Or allow him to deal with us. Oh no. That hurt. More than most. Okay, so we've warped back to the outer wall, where we will take on the first boss in this area. And so now that we have the Eye of the Priestess, we can see that Masterless Glencore actually made his way all the way through the Four Lord Souls, or either that or he accumulated 1,000,000 souls in New Game, so that he could open the Shrine of Winter and make his way here, place his summon sign here. So Masterless Glencore got a fair bit farther than simply going to Hyde's Tower of Flame and leaving his summon sign there.
Go back. Ava is watching. Go back.
Same applies to Steelheart Ellie, Steelheart Ellie, who has, I believe, been in all 3 DLCs. So, good job, Steelheart. And Marlowe321, a player, leaving their summon sign here with the Pursuer's Ultra Greatsword and the Black Witch's Staff. So we can hear Alsana playing somewhat of a guardian role.
This dead city has nothing to offer. Go back. Do not seek the old chaos, nor its twisted flame.
So Alsana doesn't want us to seek the twisted chaos or the old chaos or its twisted flame. A little bit early with my roll there. Should have seen that coming. Much too early with my roll there. Should have seen that one coming as well. Ouch. Death number 2, not even 15 minutes in a recording. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So we're going to switch from our Aspada Repara to our Fume Sword. which keeps our damage about the same, but we'll have much greater reach with our swings than we did with the Astora Repara. As I've mentioned, this is the part of the game that I'm least experienced with, so I hope you will forgive my sloppy play thus far. 2 deaths in 1 episode, I think, is a record as far as I'm concerned. AoE. Get away fast enough. Rolled much too soon. Oh, another AoE. Didn't get to his side fast enough there. Bad time for a heal, but got rather lucky there. Another ooh. Shouldn't have got greedy with that second swing there. Another homing soul mass? No. Alright. That was a lot more difficult than I anticipated it would be, but we did it. And so now, there's a shortcut there to the left. Now we will proceed to the Grand Cathedral. You can see this place is, even with the snowstorm obscuring our view, this place is quite beautiful. This, I assume, would be another priestess of Ilium Lois. Could be wrong about that, though. You can kind of see Alsana up there. And you can see these icicles taking a very similar shape to that of the wood or oak of the chaos.
To think Ava could be bested. Who are you? This land is barren, cursed by the old chaos. It gave birth to atrocities, and the people fled in fear. Until our Lord, the Ivory King, came.
So just as in Dark Souls 1, when the Witch of Izalith tried to recreate the first flame, the end result was not an extension of the Age of Fire, but rather the creation of atrocities, of demons. But apparently, in this place, where the old chaos seemingly continued to have its influence over the land, what happened was that despite the fact that the Chosen Undead defeated the Bed of Chaos in Dark Souls 1, that the flame continued doing what it wanted to do, regardless of the fact that it had been defeated. So that the player's actions in Dark Souls 1 seemingly had no effect on the strength and continued agency of the chaos.
My dear Lord, a most true king. It was with his magnificent soul that he built Aegon and contained the spread of chaos. But the chaos would not be sated, and the king gave his own soul. Inevitably, the king was drained of vigor and plunged into the chaos's heart. Aegon was frozen in time, its leader lost. I remain here to contain the chaos, honoring my lord's wishes. Perhaps one day he will return. There is nothing here save that accursed flame.
So, as has been implied heavily so far, Aegon was built for the sole purpose of containing the chaos, as a line of defense, keeping the accursed flame, as Alsana refers to it, from coming into contact with the outside world.
I have but one wish. That my dear Lord might be freed from that unspeakable chaos. I haven't the strength to help him myself. But perhaps one such as you. Though I am yet to know your name, stranger, will you lend me your strength? Kind visitor, I thank you. Let me open the path to chaos. And please, do all you can.
Alsana seals undone, and the winds of Velium Lois are ceased.
Many of Aegon Lois's faithful knights followed their lord into the chaos. But not one of them returned. The king's dutiful subjects waited patiently for his homecoming. But it was too long a wait to bear. The Knights of Aleamnois await a new leader. One who will guide them into chaos.
So as she mentions, there are a number of knights who followed the Ivory King into the chaos, each of whom went hollow along his side. There are but 4 knights who have remained here, but await a new leader. 4 knights who are very much not hollow at all, including this guy here. And so it's our duty to go and collect these knights before plunging into the chaos, because of course failing to do so will ensure that the Ivory King's knights will overwhelm us during the boss fight. There are 3 portals in the boss fight and 4 knights that you can gather. We are going to just gather 3 so that we can have a one-on-one fight with the Ivory King. And also so that I don't make a fool out of myself with my lack of knowledge of this DLC. So, a number of items, now that the winds have ceased, another number of items around the area have opened themselves up to us, including this one. The Vessel Shield. Shield depicting a priestess of Aleamnois emanates a certain heat that heightens the abilities of its bearer. The priestesses who devoted themselves to appeasing the ancient flame are no longer. So it's supposed to depict a priestess of Aleamnois. Ah, yeah, I see that now. I had never noticed that, owing to the fact that I had never read the item description. And you can see very clearly that, yeah, she is kind of consoling the chaos, as it were. She's holding it to her bosom. And that is very interesting. I've never actually even thought to look at it. The abilities that it mentions is that, as far as I'm aware, it raises your adaptability. So we're going to warp back to the first bonfire, so that we can start looking for new knights to lead. Okay, once again, my knowledge of the area is lackluster, so we're just going to head out and hope that, and you can see now that the winds have ceased, the magnificence and beauty of this place becomes even more evident. It's quite something, this whole area. In fact, all 3 of the DLCs are just wonderfully designed and put together. Come on, stop using your rapier. There you go. Good job, buddy. We are gonna run right by 90% of the items. We are looking more or less just for the knights that we need to free. I apologize to any completionists who may be watching. However painful this might be, it is necessary for us to finish the DLC in a timely manner. So the hedgehog guys coming up do not respond to alluring skulls. So we might, I'm afraid, have to cheese them. I'm not sure if they respond to poison arrows at all. Although it doesn't look like we're going to be able to find out. Hey, fellers. I believe that they can't go past the threshold that doorway represents. Sorry, Sonic. Yeah, we're not going to find out because 3 arrows is generally not enough to poison things. Usually takes 4. But it is enough to kill them before we'd even be able to find out if they can be poisoned anyway. So, we are going to buff our weapon. Use Green Blossom as well. I don't believe this is the right way, but we're going to find out. I believe this is the way to the 4th bonfire. But it might be too soon for us to be heading this way. Frozen healing lice. That was not at all pretty. Okay, I was gonna put on a Ring of Life Protection, but we're gonna disregard those souls for now. Although, it was about 100,000, which is a couple level ups, so yeah, actually, we're gonna put on a Ring of Life Protection. Problem was my hesitation there. Aggroed a bunch of the enemies. Oh, this is not good. So just as the entire series can be renamed potentially to Aegon of Astora, fails at parrying, succeeds at roll backstabs. This episode might be... could also go by the alternate title, Aegon of Astora fails at the Ivory King DLC. Despite using 1,000,000 alluring skulls. So we're gonna take one more shot at getting my souls back. And usually I send that elevator back up. Not sure why I neglected to do so there. So I had originally planned on having this DLC completed within an hour in a single episode. We'll see if it's going to be at all possible to do that. I'm beginning to think that it probably isn't. But we'll see. Oh, they can be poisoned. Very nice. Okay. Yay, we did it! Oh yeah, and we can't use the bonfire because of the Invader, of course. Oh, hello! No, he's cast Promised Walk of Peace. So we'll be fat rolling now, yeah. Very good, Nikolai. It's not so good as you using your shield like that. No, you're not healing. At least he doesn't... And this is something that AJ Sin brought up in the comments of the episode wherein we took care of Azlatil. In terms of the inconsistency there between the game mechanics and the lore. And in particular, the idea that Azlatil invades as a hollow. But I'm going to continue this train of thought in one moment. And so I responded to AJ Sin's comment by pointing out that I drew a distinction earlier on in the series between capital H hollowing and small h hollowing. And so it's entirely possible for Azlatil to invade as a capital H hollow, because you can be capital H hollow without also being lowercase hollow at the same time. And a perfect example of that from a previous game is Paladin Leroy, who helps the player out in the catacombs, but then invades at the end of the Tomb of the Giants. And so, in the context of Azlatil, if you watch the cinematic lore video I did on Lucatil, you'll see that I juxtaposed Lucatil's dialogue on the act of Azlatil invading with, and the specific dialogue being that once someone becomes hollow, they prey on others. And so, again, you can, in my view, be capital H hollow, and thus someone who preys on other players in the game, without necessarily needing to use a human effigy to invade. A more meta example of the same, of actual players, might be players who invade, or who engage in PvP more generally, using, say, the Chaos Blade, the Jester Top, which doesn't allow you to be backstabbed, together with the Havel's gauntlets, helmet and leggings. So just the cheesiest and most overpowered build possible. Although I'm sure there are more overpowered builds, but that's one in particular that's generally frowned upon by the community. And some players, just use those types of builds at the outset. Some players, it would seem to me, start behaving in that way in PvP in response to other people behaving that way. So you could look at players like that and say that, yeah, they've essentially gone capital H hollow. And so the point I'm trying to make basically is that there can be a distinction drawn both in terms of actual players and in terms of NPCs between capital H hollowing and lowercase hollowing. Now, with all of that said, there is... Sorry, I'm just trying to ensure I don't get destroyed by this mob here. We are going to grab the Garrison Ward key. So now, with all of that said, I wanted also to present a counterpoint to what I said, and that is that the NPCs in Dark Souls 2, and this is specific to Dark Souls 2, it doesn't seem as though the NPCs in Dark Souls 1 follow the same, or are constructed in this way, but the NPCs in Dark Souls 2 appear very much to not follow the same rules that the player does. This, it would seem to me, is not an area of congruence between gameplay and lore, but rather just a consequence of whatever you're going to describe them as. The derogatory term for them is the B team at FromSoft. But this, it would seem to me, is the end result of it not being the same team behind it, and based also on the pressure from Namco Bandai to make the game, difficult so that they can have in all their marketing campaigns. And this is something I mentioned right off the bat at the very first episode of the series, that I think it's silly to conceive of this game as being impossibly difficult. When in fact it's not the difficulty that makes the Souls games good, but rather the sense of achievement that you get when, succeeding in certain aspects of the game. Okay, we gotta slow this down here for a second. And so, excuse me. And so, yes, returning to my point, Azlatil and all of the other NPC invaders in the game don't seem to follow the same rules of the player. And in particular, the rule that when you're invading, you can't use Estus. And yet all of the NPC invaders in the game possess the ability, nevertheless, to use Estus, even when not in their own world. So, it's possible that Azlatil invades as a... And I really don't believe I have any reason to be here, so I'm not sure why I am. Again, chalk it up to my lack of knowledge of the DLC. Well, let's see what items we have here. Sorcerer's Twin Blade. Oh. Hey, fellas. Divine Blessing. And a Soul Vessel. So, to AJ Sin's point, that yes, there is not always a congruence between gameplay and lore. And in the case of most of the NPCs in Dark Souls 2, they don't seem to follow the same rules that the player does, for better or for worse, and often for worse in Dark Souls 2, as far as I'm concerned. So it's entirely possible that Azlatil could be invading as a lowercase Hollow too, because, like the rest of the NPCs, he doesn't seem to follow the same rules that we do. Okay, so we can see over there, that's one of the Knights of Ilium Lois we need to free. But I'm still racking my brain trying to figure out where the heck it is I'm going. But in the meantime, we've picked up a couple items that we might want to check out. The first being the Sorcerer's Twin Blade. A Twin Blade originating in Melfia, doubles as a catalyst for sorcery. A rare weapon used by very few warriors owing to its dependent on honed skills with both staff and sword. Bone Fist as well. Bone that is bound to the fist, used to enhance hand-to-hand combat salvaged from a malformed creature. Enables one to fight with inhuman strength, as if it were the very spirit of the bone's malicious owner has taken control. Okay. And then we also picked up a clutch ring, I believe. Ring depicting a hand grasping a stone. Increases dark attack, but reduces physical defense. The origin of this ring is unknown, but its design suggests one of the darker deities. Okie dokes, okay. We picked that up there. And we're back here. Hello. Oh, didn't mean to do a plunging attack there. And we remember to send the elevator back up this time. Very good. But on second thought, there's actually no reason for us to be here because we've already unlocked the bonfire. So this might in fact be a suicide run to get to a bonfire we've already unlocked. But let's see how it goes. No, get out of the way! Out of the way! Just put on a life protection ring just in case, but looks like we're good. Okay. Let's just go rest at that bonfire. Alrighty then. Okay. So we're about to be trolled by one of the NPCs that doesn't follow the same rules of the player. And that is Maldron the Assassin. Who, it would seem, has some sort of infinite stamina. He moves way quicker than the player is supposed to be able to move. He seems to have infinite or near infinite poise. And, yeah, just generally very, very cheap. So, we're gonna see if we can pull this before he can come backstab us. Oh, thank you, kind sorcerer thing, for getting in his way. You can see him around the corner there, just waiting to pounce. Hey buddy, you gonna just hang out there all day? No, we staggered him. And now he runs away at a breakneck pace. There he goes. Look at that. No player can move that fast. But I digress. I'm going to take out the Sonic here, or try to anyway. Thank you. Bolt stones. So the inclusion of bolt stones here is interesting, seeing as the rest of the area seems rather centered on sorcery. We're going to run past essentially everything here, including Maldron, who it looks like has just healed. Maldron and the Covetous Demon. Is he hiding right behind the Covetous Demon, I wonder? Yep, of course he is. What a troll. What a troll. Oh, and we also have some Sonics there. Again, I believe I'm going the right way, but yes, it appears as though we are. And so, we have golems here, who are, of course, enslaved giants. So very... Oh no. This is not good. So you're going to notice he'll steal 5,255 souls from us. Oh no, and Maldron's here too! No! See you guys. Sorry, Maldron. Alright, well that was a rather sticky situation there that we somehow got out of. And we have indeed found ourselves in the right place. Now, we just need to not die before letting that Knight of Ilium Lois out. We got a couple Sonics here. Some more Sonics. And we've done it. Gonna open up the shortcut. Whoa. Almost died there. So that's one of two that we need to free, because you'll recall that there was one knight already there. We only need 3 to close the portals. So we are going to go pick up one more Knight of Ilium Lois before we go and take on the old Ivory King. Or rather, just the Ivory King, or the Burnt Ivory King. So let's warp back to the bonfire. Alright, so this is, I believe, where we need to go for our third Knight of Ilium Lois. And as I mentioned, we're only going to free one more, because 3 is really all that you need. There's the Invader once again, but we're going to be going this way, which was previously blocked by ice. So yeah, I really don't know what to make of A, the Golem's appearance here, and B, the fact that the Golems are hostile to the player. Ouch! Ouch! Hello, sir. I need your help. Thank you. So the Knights of Ilium Lois were essentially scattered, literally, to the wind, across the kingdom. And we have come to... Oh, yes, we have an invader. So we are trapped here until we go deal with that invader. That's unfortunate. Okay. Let's go say hello. Do we have any seeds of a tree of giants? We do. Very nice. Okay. So all we have left to do then is to funnel some of these enemies over towards our friend, Holy Knight Arheim, I believe his name is. So yeah, I really don't know what to make of the presence of the golems and the fact that the golems are hostile to the player. So let's check out this fight here. No, focus on your enemy over there. Come on, Mr. Golem. Oh, okay. One down. We got a whole bunch of other enemies over here for you to deal with, buddy. Ouch. No, go deal with Arheim. Over there. Over there. Go deal with him. Please and thank you. Alright. This is nowhere near as easy as I thought it was going to be. There we go. Okay. And another thing I'm hoping to see happen is to show that, yes, the NPC invaders can in fact heal. This retainer sorceress seems rather confused as to what it is she's supposed to be doing. No, you're supposed to be attacking Arheim, not me. Over there. He's hiding behind the golems. Alright, I've had enough of this. Thank you. You did not do your job either, so I am very disappointed. Okay, what should have been a very quick mission. I suppose I should have killed Arheim to begin with, first time he invaded, so I really have no one to blame but myself for all of those shenanigans. Oops, wrong way. This way I need to go. So now that that's all dealt with, we are going to perhaps... My recording is at about an hour, but there are a couple of 5-minute breaks in there. So I believe I still have time such that I'd be able to keep it under an hour if I make one attempt on the boss. So I assume this will be similar to that which happened when I took on Sin right at the end of the episode. At the end of an episode, rather. Where I fought Sin, and if it worked out, then it worked out. If not, then the next episode will begin with a cold open with the boss fight. But one thing I desperately have been waiting to talk about is the fact that you find Lucatiel's summon sign here. This despite the fact that as an NPC whose world comes into contact with our own, her sign, or her presence is essentially nil after we talk to her in Aldea's Keep. But her summon sign is here. So that doesn't necessarily mean that she's still alive and kicking, because you'll recall in Dark Souls 1, a good example of the time is convoluted placement of summon signs is Iron Tarkus, who leaves his summon sign outside of the Iron Golem boss fight, despite the fact that we find his corpse and discover how he died when we reach Anor Londo. That is, he fell off the rafters in one of the cathedrals there. So, Lucatiel could very well still be out there somewhere, but that our world just doesn't come into contact with her own anymore after she defeats Azlatiel. But also she could be dead, and this could just be her summon sign that she left here right after she entered the Shrine of Winter. Came here, defeated Ava the King's Pet, and left her summon sign here for the player. So, yes, another disconnect between gameplay and lore in that the existence of her summon sign here would have to have come after Aldea's Keep because this is a DLC area, but because of the existence of that disconnect, we know that her summon sign couldn't have been here until afterwards, but thus the existence of the DLC. And this is something that I've been meaning to talk about as well, and that we'll talk about more in the final episode, but I'll keep it short here, and that is that I don't believe Dark Souls 2 was a complete game when it was first released. Obviously this is a bad thing, but it's something that I'm happy that at least they made right in the end. But yeah, the game was not complete when it was first released. And there are a number of things that make that painfully obvious. And one of them is just the fact that everything now kind of makes sense. Whereas when the game first came out, there weren't enough pieces there to actually make sense of what it is that we got. But let's go and attempt to fight the chaos. I assume I'm going to die, but I'm going to equip some things just in case. Another spot in the game that gives me goosebumps essentially every time. And that is plunging into the old chaos. These guys cannot be backstabbed. You can guard break them and repulse them. Very lucky that pyromancy didn't hit us there. Ouch. 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 Okay, so we got two portals closed. Gonna need a repair powder. And one of the coolest moments of the game incoming. Now this boss fight that has a very clear gimmick, and that is that you have to collect the Knights of Liam Lois to close the portals. But despite having a very clear gimmick, is one of the coolest boss fights in this series. All of that is to say that this should have been... This boss fight is what the Bed of Chaos in Dark Souls 1 should have been. Okay, so now the portal's closed, but we have an ad to deal with still, so that's unfortunate. There we go. Okay. Much too soon with my roll there. Okay. So thank you for joining me for episode 21, and I will see you in the next one.